This is the story of the tower, as told by playing by the numbers. As any good adventure starts, we have our basic tools. On floor 1 to 10, we came across various mobs traveling from the overworld to the end and back. First off, we land on a boat to symbolize the long voyage we have ahead. We were originally greeted by skeletons and creepers, but they proved no match for our trusty sword. On the next floor, we were greeted by a big hairy looking swamp monster, and in the end, I ended up looking like a porcupine from all the arrows shot into me by various skeletons. As we traveled up the stairs and into the portal to the next floor, we were transported to an eerie peak-like setting, where there were guys with wands yelling Wingardium Leviosa, and others threatening to drop ice blocks on us. We next moved into the tower, where it looked to be the inner working area, and I managed to lose my first life here. I was then teleported to the end, despite not going through a portal, where I faced off with Enderman-looking creatures and crossbow-yielding piglins who didn't want to trade and were intent on killing me. I managed to stumble upon supplies, which I gladly took, and there was little trouble with a door and a shulker activation. Somehow I wound back in the overworld to meet some husks and zombies during the day, despite not going through a portal again. For some strange reason, I ported back to the end, where there were Endermen who spat out yellow sticky liquid. I hope they weren't snotballs. Once I'm trapped though, they flailed their arms like windmills. I managed to lose another life, but I thought I must push on. I was able to get a buddy golem, finally, as a reward for defeating the floor though. I proceeded to summon him with one press of my hotkey, as I was next tasked to fight in a pool of water. Man, I just hope my golem doesn't rust. On the next floor, floor 9, I seem to have stumbled across the inner workings of the tower, kind of like a clock tower, but different. Different in that the rotating gears were square gears? I was curious to find out how they worked, but I couldn't stay around for too long. I must press on. I finally reached the first merchant at floor 10 after some soul searching and needed some well-earned R&R. It turned out to be the unique smith. He said he can make any of my gear unique. And with that, I chose my rapid crossbow, which I picked up. It became the auto crossbow, making it faster with an accelerated fire rate. I said, ooh, tasty. Floor 11 yielded my first boss encounter. And what a doozy it was. It was the Evoker and the Illusioner as a double team. Luckily for me though, I had a double team of my own with my good old buddy Golem. We proceeded to face off each other, and I fired my auto crossbow at an extremely fast firing rate. It took them down, but it also made me lose down to a fraction of my life. And it was all hanging by the balance. Luckily I got out alive. On floor 12 to 19, it was pretty much the same, but higher we must go. That is the motto of the game. I somehow ended up in what looks like a crypt, with some nasty spiders throwing webs in order to catch their prey, namely me. There were also some ethereal-like beings floating through the air, with some magic sprouting blue flames. Luckily though, I got some reinforcements of my own. I managed to pick up some vexes, and I traded them maces, which they gladly picked up and started swinging aimlessly at all the mobs. Next up, I stumbled upon what looked like ancient ruins, where I was ambushed by slimes, executing vindicators and skeletons. I proceeded upward, which I felt like inward, and as I am now in what seems to be a castle of some sort. I head down some stairs, and here I meet some rather nasty characters who almost feel like the king's guard. They have shields and a strong weapon to boot. Looks like a mace, but however, in the end, they were no match, and I walk up the red carpet to the next floor. We're up to floor 15 now. This is where we travel back outside, to the outer top of the castle, where it is very, very windy. I am then confronted by guys who seem to be well adapted to the environment. They look very snug in a climbing gear and coats. Next, I come across a garden oasis that looks like as though it hasn't been kept up for a while and now is overrun by corrupted weeds. There's also a plant man, and I wonder if he was the gardener who just let himself go. After going through the door though, I ended up back outside where there are some religious looking pillagers reading from a book. As I witnessed what he was doing, it turns out he was reading some kind of magical spell that enhanced his mobs to be a super version of themselves. I managed to fall victim to an old dude though, with a staff raising some gravestones out of the ground. It blew up on me. At this point, I'm down to my last life. I'm back outside now, and there are ravagers that I have to fight off who are trying to stop my progress. Luckily, I have become death with my new scythe and swipe away at all my foes. I reach the second merchant now, on floor 20. Oh man, it's getting tough. Who is the guildsmith, after all? He grants me an extra enchantment on any gear piece that of my choosing. I think about it and choose to upgrade my bow again in preparation for the boss ahead. My next boss fight was pretty much a surprise of the first, coming up against an Enderman himself and a wildfire. I had to stop for a bit and enchant my gear. Then I got into the fight. I targeted the wildfire first with the insane speed of my arrows. He was no match. The Enderman was next. It pretty much ended up the same. Somehow now, I am then teleported into water? Huh? I question, how can there be this much water up this high in the tower? In any case, I was confronted by trident-yielding drowns, throwing them at me with some sort of accuracy. I was then back up to the peaks of the same place, where I was met by two ravagers. I picked up a book of my own, though, which let me do my own Wingardium Leviosa without a wand. It must have mean that I became some sort of spellcaster. What a cool ability to pick up. I am then taken out to a built wooden platform where I tussle with skeletons and those rugged up climbing guys. I have to somehow activate two pillars to open up a door and then jump through a windmill to reach the next door. Oh well, life goes on, I guess. Next, I stumble across a cellar that is in the tower. Anyway, I meet up with pillagers and some fancy looking pillagers yielding crossbows all the same, wanting to stick it in me, of course. And then I'm on to floor 25. I see a roaring fireplace and what appears to be a library. I am, however, ambushed by the king's guard again. and some zombies. They're no match though. Next off, I'm heading up some rather large spiral stairs that have decent landing areas. However, it's just zombies on this level, which should prove to be no match for my upgraded weapons. Somehow, next, I'm transported to a swamp-like area, and I instantly think witches, which I am right. They throw their potions at me, which is pink and poisonous. I avoid them best I can, and take out my OP lightning rod to take them down. Through the next door, this looked like the witch's house, or hut as it's called, with a roaring fire pit. I go to open the door first to the next level, and then proceed to take down all my foes. I was lost with the dizzying heights that I had reached so far, and forgot that I had reached the merchant. Last one being the powersmith. I needed to upgrade my armor to keep me alive, as I didn't want to repeat the 30 floors that I've already gone through. On the final floor, it looks as though I'm on top of the tower, and the last boss spawns in, who is the redstone monstrosity. Instantly I'm thinking, I hope the tower can hold his weight and mine, otherwise I'm done for. And he's made of stone mostly, I think, which is a little bit heavy, as you know. As I'm down to my last life, I ponder and think about what I've been through. But I think I don't want to die. So I just run around him in circles and apply the deftly touch of my arrows to his heart. I finally felled the beast and did my victory roboto dance. And I'm done with this week's tower. Thanks for listening to my story, and hope to catch you in the next one.